Welcome to our interview series with WellNest Global and international holistic experts, Consilience, exploring new ways of thriving. You can find this series on our YouTube channel at WellNest Global. And our intention with this program is to empower our audience with tools, wisdom, and resources to assist you in your journey of thriving in this life. Hey everyone, welcome to Consilience, exploring new ways of thriving. I'm your hostess, Valarie Angle Roberts, and today we have a special guest with us, a friend of the WellNest Global for several years now. We've been doing business with our partner today in different ways since the development of WellNest Roanoke, which is now WellNest Global. So today I want to welcome to Consilience, Katie Flinchum.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
We're so happy to have you today, and that we could make some time. It's if you're watching this later, it's the Thanksgiving holiday week, so we've wiggled some time in here to spend together to bring you some awesome information and help you to connect with Katie and learn more about her and what she offers. So Katie, why don't we start off by giving you a minute to tell everyone a little bit about you, who you are, and let them get to know you.
Yeah. So, wow. Like you said, I have been working with you all on and off since you began many years ago in Roanoke, which is wild to think about how long ago that has been. Way back then, I was thinking about starting like my own coaching business. I had just finished a certification program in health and wellness coaching, and I was just trying to get into kind of that side of coaching and wellness coaching and trying to blend it all together. So that's how we first started getting in touch. And I remember going down to the WellNest in downtown Roanoke and meeting with you, and everything was just starting, and it was exciting for the both of us. And yeah, that venture did not pan out for me the way that I had planned, because a big part that I know I'll touch on later when I get to my offers and like what I'm doing now is during that time I was actually going through an eating disorder that I had yet to fully admit to anyone but myself, and it was pretty much just putting a block to everything that I was trying to do. And through that experience, looking back and then the recovery, that has been just pivotal in getting me to where I am today. So, but yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to like go all over the place. But right now I am working on building up a different kind of coaching that is kind of similar to what I was trying to do before. I'm also blogging and podcasting, and I always like to highlight the fact that I'm doing like social media. I always like to highlight my Instagram when I talk about what I'm doing, because I always call it my mini blog, because I love writing, I love talking, so I just like to use that as like a shorter form content thing. But yeah, so I'm doing all of that. I've called it the Joy Babe. Of course, I'm gonna get to that again in a minute when I talk about like what I'm offering and everything. But aside from that, I am living here in Roanoke. I am owning and running with my dad a tree service business. So that's totally, a separate thing, but that's like my main thing at this point. So yeah, that's what I've currently got going on. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So we're neighbors, we're both in the Roanoke Valley area.
Yeah.
And that's cool that you've got a good working relationship with your dad. That's really neat thing. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been an adventure, and it has given me such good knowledge and experience in running a business. It's been incredibly fun, and it's been like my first little jump into, business ownership and how it is to be your own boss. And it's fun, and it's a lot at times. It's all over the place, and it's just, but I love it. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So like for all the entrepreneurs watching, yeah, I mean, we get these ideas and we're like, oh, this would be fun, or I'm really good at this, or I would love to do this for my career. And then we don't necessarily like realize that that's just one slice of the entrepreneurship puzzle. Like doing what you
Right.
love and the actual work is like one little piece. And then there's all of this other part that goes with running a business that's like you really got to put your big girl panties on and like learn a lot. And yeah, it's tough, but it's, you know, it's possible. So yeah,
Yes.
it's good lessons there. And also like what you were saying as you're introducing yourself, you know, about your path, it all comes together, you know, like everything, even though it's frustrating in the time and it's like, oh, I tried this and it didn't work and I tried this and it, you know, it all is like building blocks into where you're going next and just gives you wisdom,
Exactly.
to help you be where you need to be. So where are you now? So what's going on? And what have you learned? What's going on with you in your business?
Yeah. So this all started back up again, and I hesitated to go for, I was like, am I really going to try coaching again? Because I had kind of had these little starts and then stops and starts and stops. And part of it, like I said, was the eating disorder. And part of it also was fear. I would build up these, what I wanted to do, the offers I wanted to put out, how I wanted my entire business to look. And then when it came time to putting it out there and talking about it, I got so scared. And I was just like, what are people going to think? This is way different than anything I've ever said I wanted to do. I'm talking about these things. I mean, it all felt aligned with me, but I just let the fear win. And so I, retreated back. I was like, no, we'll just let that go. I'll do something more like quote unquote traditional and, nothing scary. So just stay comfortable. But this all started back up, I would say summer, like spring, summer of 2022. And that's when I finally had to delve into recovery from the eating disorder. I was teaching special education at the time, and it was nearing the end of the school year, and I knew it was like time to renew our contracts. And I knew, I was like, there's no way I'm coming back. There's no way I'm doing any sort of work going forward right now. I need to go all in with recovery. And thank goodness that I have a supportive family that allowed me to take that time off. I moved back in with my mom and stepdad for a little while, to just focus on getting better, going all in with the recovery. And right at the end of, before I said, that's it, I can't keep going with this eating disorder, like when I finally admitted that something was really wrong and I had to take it seriously, I had been feeling this pull that there is something more that I am here to do. Like I just had the best way to describe it is just I just had this sense of a dream in me that I was just meant to do something in the spiritual space. And I remember feeling so incredibly disconnected from that. I felt the pull and then I felt the disconnection at the same time. It's almost like I could see it, but I could not even get near touching it. And I started to blog about my recovery. I started to put it out there online about the recovery as I went through the process. And that kind of opened me back up to the online space and my love for writing and my love for just sharing and, being open and vulnerable and honest to in the hopes of having people, connect to me. And as I kept doing that throughout the summer of 2022, it kind of just evolved into, okay, I don't want recovery to be my identity. So I was like connecting back to, I knew there was something in the spiritual realm or the just helping people live live life well. And it's really hard to distill it down, um, because it almost sounds like, well, I wanted to be a life coach. And then I just knew there was a spirituality piece, and it was just all starting to come together. And then I realized that I was, still playing into the fear of being open about some of the things that I wanted to talk about. Like, I wanted to talk about manifestation. I wanted to talk about law of attraction. I wanted to talk about um, all of these things that, I mean, they get labeled as like spirituality and new age. I don't like labels because I feel like that just like boxes things in too much, and it makes it's like, oh, it's trendy. It's like, no, I'm not trying to be trendy. Like, um, but then I was realizing I was letting fear, you know, take over again, because I was I was afraid to really put it out there, like, to the people around me, because it was really different than the way I was raised. And um I would talk about it here and there, but almost like just never fully. So I wasn't showing up fully online. And then I finally began to blog about it, and I started an Instagram where I was talking about it. I started a podcast where I was talking about it all, but I never shared it. I just put it out there into the I just put it out there on the internet, like, strangers, here, find this. But when you're not open and honest about something, when you don't talk about it with everybody, it's like you're not really, there's a mismatch. There's like this energetic mismatch. You're not fully putting all of your energy into it. And there's just something that's not gonna, it's not gonna progress and grow. And so yeah, I feel like I'm going all over the place. I'm trying to connect the dots here. um but yeah, as that grew, I had to think about what to name everything, and I landed on the Joy Babe, um, because it was inspired by, well, one of somebody that I follow on Instagram, and I follow her podcast. She's the Manifestation Babe, and I don't know if you're familiar with her or not. No, okay. She's really big, and she's just amazing. I love her. And I so like her name was sticking in my head. And I had seen a ton of other accounts with like babe on the name, like the food babe, or that's the only one that's coming to mind right now, but I've seen a bunch of other ones. And I'm like, what is it that I really want to be about? Like, yes, I love talking about spirituality. I love talking about manifestation. I love talking about, you know, authenticity, and being who we're here to be, and the truth of who we are, and all of this stuff. And I was like, what's at the core of all of this? And I settled on joy. And like, and then I was like, you know, my main mission throughout all of the coaching and everything that I have tried to do, all the blogging that I've well, I don't want to say tried to do, but like all the little starts and stops, it's all been about a basis of helping people just live joyful lives. And I was like, it all comes back to that, because when we are, when we're delving into spirituality, when we're learning about who we truly are, when we want to, learn about and engage in manifestation, anything. And even when I was in the health and wellness stuff, I was like, it all comes back to a life of joy, of feeling good. And when you are connected to who you are, you're feeling good. You have that life of joy. And I, experienced so like little of that throughout high school, and then the eating disorder. Just aside from the eating disorder, I had a history with like anxiety and depression, and so many people around me have been experiencing that too. And I was just like, life is not supposed to be this way. you know like, there's got to be another way. And So I settled on joy. And also I'm going to show my tattoo right here. So there we go. Sun. My nickname has always been Sunshine. I was like, oh yeah. And it just felt like when I settled on joy, I was like, it felt like a connection to like a soul mission. Like something that I'm here to bring more of to the world and people's lives. And so that's how I landed on the name The Joy Babe. And I'm gonna pause because if I'm not making like linear connections here, I do apologize. Is there
Yeah,
anything you
so
have right now?
no, one of the beautiful things about this, opportunity is people can really get to know you. And I think you're doing a beautiful job of kind of taking them through the journey of like where you initially got this idea that I want to help people, right? So like not everybody's like us, Katie. Like not everybody has this. It's hard for us to understand, I think, that not everyone has this fire inside that like I came here for this service. Like I came here to do things, or, maybe it's different, right? So like maybe a lot of people came here to be in service to just their family or, just to, raise their kids really well and focus on that only. And, to each their own. But for some of us, there's this fire, this quenchable fire that, I'm learning these things and it needs to be shared because I know I can provide the scaffolding for someone else. So it doesn't have to be
Right.
as hard for them. And so you're doing a beautiful job of talking genuinely about your journey. So thank you for that. And also for the entrepreneurs watching that insight into like, this is the entrepreneurial journey. It is not very, very few people, maybe 0.001% have an idea, take action on it and have immediate success. I mean, that's so
Yeah.
incredibly rare. And so it's a process, it's a unfolding and like a learning and trial and error and learning about ourselves and others and entrepreneurship and all of that. So a lot of value there, I believe, in this conversation in general. But some of what you said really is relevant to the time we're in right now. Where I just personally believe there's always been fear, there's always been insecurity, there's always been anxiety, there's always been something to worry about. And there's always been that voice in society of life is hard, suck it up, work through it, survive.
Oh, exactly.
You work hard, you have a family, they suck the life out of you and you die. Like
Yeah.
there's always that voice out there, but that's not the only voice. And that I agree with you 100%. That is not who I believe we're called to be. I do
Right.
not believe, I don't, cannot align with that belief system, whether it's coming from a religious doctrine or a cult or just a really, history, a family history and ancestral history of trauma and trial that perpetuates this myth that that's how life is. But,
Right.
we can make that decision. Like, this is not how life is. And this is not
Right.
what I'm going to aspire to in my life. And
Yeah.
so they can look to you and say, okay, her too, she also feels this way. And she's been through this stuff. And so
Yeah.
now, what can I learn from her? And so you're a great guide to people in that you can take all of this that you've learned. And when you are working with people, use that wisdom and life experience. And it's not just about, the credentials, the certifications, the education.
Right.
It's not always about that. That stuff's all great, but it's so much more about the personal journey and wisdom there. So yeah, I love that message. Overcoming the fear of what other people are thinking about me and using that courage to then show up authentically and whole. Because you're right, a lot of us are out there showing up like this one place and like that another place and like this.
Oh, and it feels awful.
Yes.
It does. And I realized that just recently. I just want to speak to the fear piece one more time here because I have moved through so much of it, and at the same time I find myself in it still. And it's not always easy for everybody to just, make a decision and be authentic. Everybody has a different relationship with fear. And I never like to say that, oh, this is going to be a challenging thing, because it's not going to be for everybody. When people say it's always easier said than done, well, for some people, you do have an easy time with just making the decision and being authentic. And there are other layers to move through. And it's just, I think it's all in how we choose to look at it. But even here just recently, now that I have really started to build things up even more with the blog and the podcast and the nutrition coaching I'm doing, which I want to get to in just a second. But I have it all built up, and it's like, okay, now, Katie, it's time to talk about it. Like, it's time to talk about it with your friends and your family, even if they're not going to engage with it. They're not going to read your blog or listen to your podcast because maybe it's not what they're into, and that's okay. But you still need to show up authentically for them, because you're not being your full self in all areas of life. And that disconnection just leads to, for me, it led to so much. I was feeling frustrated. I was feeling depressed, because I realized all throughout the day, as I'm working on, if I'm writing a blog or if I'm recording my podcast or whatever I'm doing, I feel so lit up and in alignment and on fire. And then as soon as I get around my friends and my family, or like as soon as my boyfriend comes home and I don't, I'm not talking about those things anymore, it's like I turn it off, and I just felt so inauthentic. Like I was being fake in my real life, because it felt like everything else I was doing, like, yes, this is me, this feels so right. But if you're not open and honest, like it's just pushing through that fear of authenticity again. And really, what's helped me is knowing that I am coming from a place of alignment, of soul alignment, like this is right. And whatever happens is going to be okay, because I know this is coming from an aligned place, and I just have to trust that.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Right. It's so much better when you can just show up fully as yourself. And
Yeah.
I think a big part of that is understanding that relationships, friendships, even like depth of time spent with certain family. I've had to block family on social media because some, there are members that are incredibly toxic and perpetuate negative family karma and want to like force it on other people, right? So like that we understand that this detachment, it's not about judgment or like shunning somebody, but it's like saying, I have boundaries, and
Right.
this is who I am, and this is who I'm showing up as in my life, and I love you, and you can choose to be a part of this or not, but you cannot choose to be abusive of me, because
Right.
at that point I draw a line, and you won't have access to me in that way. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, a really difficult journey for people. It's difficult to see, I love somebody and I have to spend less time with them, or I have to assert a boundary or something like that. But it's part of the journey, right? Like we sometimes
Yeah.
have to let go of things we're comfortable with and familiar with to grow.
Right.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your program and about the new piece that's coming in, the nutrition and weight
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah. So, well, I got going with blogging. I've written some ebooks and the podcast, and it felt like there was a piece that was missing. And the reason it felt like there was a piece missing is because I loved what I was doing, and at the same time it felt like I felt like I needed to offer a service. And I'm like, I don't know what I want that to be, because I didn't want to just do like spiritual life coaching or something. I was like, no, that feels too broad. Like there's something else that's here. And it was this past summer that my mom and I were having a conversation, and she mentioned something about nutrition coaching. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. And then from there, my thoughts just like they just expanded from there. And I realized at that moment, I was like, this is the piece that's missing, because I love talking about the spiritual piece, the spiritual side of things. Like, that's where I'm doing the writing and the podcasting. And sure, maybe one day, some services will come out of that, but I don't have any in mind right now. They're just something that I love to do. But I connected the nutrition, or the physical side, with like the nutrition, back to the spiritual, because I thought back to my eating disorder recovery. And when I was in the eating disorder, I was like, oh my gosh, that is when I felt the most disconnected from who I was, what, my mission is here on earth, like what I'm here to do, and when I felt so spiritually disconnected, completely disconnected from God. And I was like, yes, we can talk about the spiritual all day long, but we cannot ignore the physical. And, I've always been interested in taking care of our bodies. I got certified as a personal trainer years and years ago, never did anything with that because it was around the time that the eating disorder started to get bad. But, I've been into fitness and nutrition apart from the eating disorder. They never had anything to do with each other. But during recovery, I had to relearn so much about the body. And I became so amazed with the body and just its ability to heal, and just all the things that we have to do to take care of it, and what happens when we take care of it to heal it, how that reconnects us with life and people and our purpose. And all of a sudden the spiritual connection comes back because you have the energy for it. um I believe that the truth of who we are, we're not these humans, we're the souls in these human bodies, but at the same time, we have the bodies for a reason. And, I'm like, I want to help take care of people on the soul and spiritual side, and I want to help people on the physical side too, because for whatever, people have different reasons for caring about their body. Sometimes it's about look, sometimes it's about health. But no matter what people's goals are with, taking care of their nutrition or their fitness, it can be, and I think it always does become, about so much more. It connects you more with life and connects you more with who you are, and you just discover a whole different side of life when you really start to take care of yourself physically. So in my mind, it is all connected. Even if someone comes to me for nutrition coaching because they're like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds and for, my wedding, it's like, okay, cool. We can talk about the things, to take care of the body to get us there. But along the way, we're going to discover so much more. And in my coaching, I want to add in, talking about values, talking about what else is this doing for you in your life? What are you learning about you? And, what do you now feel is possible for you? So it's not just a physical piece. And so really it just all ties together for me, because I really did experience the disconnection and the reconnection with the physical health piece there, and namely the nutrition. That was the big piece for me, and that's why the nutrition coaching is really what I want to offer to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome. That, it's like the body is a vehicle for the work that we're meant to do, on the
Exactly.
planet, spiritually and and you wouldn't just go out and buy a brand new Lamborghini and then just, fill it with junk and let it
Right.
rest and get destroyed
Right.
and crash it around. And you would treat it right because you value it.
Exactly.
So the
Exactly.
body is the vehicle. Yeah. Um, and yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. I believe that that's why a lot of times, um, like either, we'll see really, really spiritual people in really poor health because it's a disconnect. They
Yeah.
have value in their body as their vehicle. And you only got so much time to be that spiritual guru or whatever. If you're not, I think you're the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And then, same thing with just people in general, that it's just like, it's just about losing the 20 pounds, or it's just about looking good in the mirror. But it's not just that. It's a much deeper cellular and also spiritual mission. Because have you heard the term, how you do one thing is how you do everything? Right.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, if you're, showing up detached in your body and unloving of your body, then that's might be a mirror for how you're showing up spiritually and
Right.
emotionally and mentally as well. So
Right.
I think you're right on there with, bringing that holistic perspective to the nutrition coaching, and interesting how it all kind of moved and flowed in this interesting way in your life to give you the experiences to be able to bring that to people now.
Yeah.
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 So what kind of things are you offering as far as your services? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I do offer nutrition coaching. I have 5 open spots because it just began, so I don't have any clients yet. I mean, literally just began maybe a month ago. But I do work with 5 clients at a time, and the minimum, um, a lot of time for us to work together, the minimum, I don't know the word I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's 3 months. The coaching goes for 3 months at a time because I know a lot of times people do things month to month, which is great, but I think that 3 months is the minimum for like a real true transformation to be experienced, because there's a lot of learning that you need to do in the process, like setting it up and then starting to go through it. So yeah, I work with 5 clients at a time for 3 months at a time, and we do it all online. And so, we talk about goals, we talk about values, we get together a plan, unique to each person, no matter what the goals are. And we set up a way to track it. And then we work together for at least the 3 months. And yeah, so that's how the nutrition coaching works. And there's also an added piece if we want to talk about the fitness side of things. Like I said, I am a personal trainer, so if that's a piece that people want to add in there, that's totally an option too.
Nice. Yeah, I can attest that anytime I need to level up in any area of my life, in any situation that there's stagnancy there, having a coach and an accountability partner, it's everything.
Oh, it
It
so
takes
is.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like you can work 10 times harder and effort 10 times more by yourself and try to overcome your own mind all by yourself if you want
Yeah.
to work really hard. But when you partner with a coach to keep you on track, to help you set your goals, to get that clarity, it just amplifies your progress and your success. It's so much faster. It's so much
Oh,
easier. The coach takes so much of the weight and the burden of momentum, but it's a win-win because they're
yeah.
loving their life, their job, their work. They're doing what they love, and you're getting the massive and fast success and accountability that you need. So I just, people be like, well, I don't need a coach. I'm like, you don't need a coach. You need 5 coaches. you
Right. And
you
I've
need
been
a
in
coach
that
for multiple things.
I've been in that mindset before. I've got this hyper independence. I'm like, no, I can take care of it on my own. And I just recently started working with a holistic nutrition coach myself for some other health things that I've got going on. 'Cause it's like, no, you need somebody to help you set those goals and walk you through it, and to be your support and to brainstorm with you. And yeah, there's a ton of information out there, but there's so much information that you have to know how to apply it specifically to you. You need someone to help you walk through that with you and figure out what's truly best for you. Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing. We were in the same place. People like, well, I'll Google it. Oh my gosh. Like, don't get
Gosh,
me
yeah.
started on Google. Google is not your friend. It is
No.
it is a nightmare. And the crap that's out there is so
Yeah.
abundant. It's so
Yeah.
difficult to discern, what's what and what's right for you. And so,
Yeah.
having somebody who's been through the experiences and can speak from that perspective and has the education and so on, just powerful. I like why just save yourself the heartache of waiting and just do it, because it's life changing. And
Right.
yeah, and two, another thing about it is the relationships, right? The
Yes.
relationships you build with your mentors and your, even if you do like a group program or whatever, and you have partners or whatnot, those are some of the best relationships you'll ever make in your life. And
Yeah.
the most meaningful, those are like I was listening to Jim Rohn this morning. I always like to listen to somebody in the morning when I'm getting stuff ready in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And, he was talking about his mentor, and, to be 85 years old and talking about your mentor when you were 20 or 30 and remembering that impact and the meaning that had and how it changed your life. It's just a really powerful tool that
Yeah.
is very underrated, I think, in our society right now. But I think that's changing. I think we're shifting
Yeah.
into a more open-minded mentality about that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Awesome. So you've got some spots available right now for your coaching, and will they start right away, or do you have a start date that they bounce off of, or how does that work? And is it rolling?
It can start right away. Yep. And
Okay.
it starts from when you sign up, it's 3 months forward, or yes, 3 months forward for you. So yep.
Okay.
And then when another spot opens up, it is kind of rolling like that, like you said.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, cool. And then do you do a consultation call or an interview or anything to get to know people beforehand, or how do
Yes.
they?
Yes, we definitely do. We definitely do, because, sometimes people will fill out a form and you're like, well, I don't really know you and you don't really know me. So let's just chat for a little while and just make sure that it's a good fit, that this is something that you really are ready to go forward with, and that I'm the right person for you. And so, yes, we always do a free 30-minute call. Yep. That's the very first
Perfect.
step.
Wonderful. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So we can get you guys started right away. And you know what? I'm going to try to get this recording out as soon as possible, because we're going into the holiday season here. And this is a really great time to face yourself, to face
Yes.
who you are and who you're showing up as, because you're around a bunch of people. You're probably going to go to a lot of events. You're going to be in uncomfortable situations, comfortable situations. Lots of food situations that are not typical through the rest of the year. That having a coach by your side through this time, this next 6 weeks, could really reset the course of 2024. It could really shift your whole experience of the next year if you start doing that work now. So I would highly encourage people to reach out and at least have that consultation call with you and get to know
Yeah.
you personally. So
Yeah.
yeah. Any last words that you want to share? Anything that we didn't touch on or that you just want to say?
Well, I think we touched on everything. And I just want to say that, I am still trying to figure out how to talk about all of the things that I'm doing and all of my offers. So if any of it came out imperfectly, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Send me an email, however you want to find me, and I will be happy to talk to you and clear up anything. And I just hope that my showing up imperfectly can be an encouragement, because, we figure things out as we go along, and it doesn't mean that we don't know what we're doing. It's just that we're in the process figuring it out. So, yeah, aside from the nutrition coaching, I would love if, you would listen to my podcast. It's called the Joy Babe Podcast, and read my blog. I have some ebooks as well. They're free on my website, and I also have a spot on my website, because I do, put up like the ebooks and stuff. Everything is free. Aside from the nutrition coaching, I do have a spot on my website if anybody, really likes my work, and has been impacted, there is a donate button just to support on my website if that's anything that anyone is called to do. And so I'm sure that you'll have the links to my website and everything to share. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to end with.
Awesome. Wonderful. Yes. So just like Katie said, we will have in the description. Don't worry, you don't have to write anything down right now. We will have all of that in the description on the YouTube. Katie's website, how to get in touch with her, her IG, all of that. And so you can connect and follow and interact as any way you want with Katie.
Yeah.
So thank you, Katie, for being here once again.
Yeah.
Appreciate you and what you do for the community and what you share. And then we thank all of you for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it, and just come back to the video. Make sure you're subscribing so you get the notification when we have these wonderful videos come out with these global international experts, so you don't miss a thing and you can connect with your global community and find the resources for yourself or that person in your life that might just need a little bit of holistic care right now. So have a great week, everyone, and we will see you back here next time. Bye-bye.